Who is the best leader in Civilization VI? The answer may seem obvious: Hammurabi's early planes, Basil's ability to ignore defenses, Teddy's free science and culture, all of which have an outstanding ability that gears them towards a single strategy. But what if I told you the best leader in Civ 6 is the complete opposite? The problem with Abe Lincoln is that while his abilities are strong, they fail to work towards a single strategy because they're just all over the place. So I got to thinking, what if there was a single strategy that, when performed, makes him the most broken leader in the game? The goal today is to prove that by manipulating Dark Ages, industrial zones, and line infantry, I can win the hardest victory type in the game, a culture victory, without actually working on any culture. This ambitious strategy requires 3 steps to make work, the first of which can only be revealed after I discover where the other civilizations are. And so I settle my capital and get to exploring, making sure to uncover every nook and cranny before discovering that my west is bordered by a large ocean. Up north is where my luck changes from an unlikely source. This natural wonder is C tier, but for my strategy today, it is the best possible wonder I could have discovered, thanks to its faith. But just as I was about to claim it, barbarians blue-balled my dopamine spike, and with no other civilizations to call upon, the responsibility to clear them fell onto me. Up north, my lone warrior was more than enough, unlike in the south, where a scout manages to make it back to its camp. This is frustrating, as I had to put a stop to all scouting operations to deal with this massive army that spawns. While I almost lose a few of my expensive explorers, I managed to survive the first wave of attacks unscathed. This gave me just enough time to detour into archery and discipline, giving me the juice to clear both camps and settle my much-needed wonder. With the barbarians gone and city settled, I could finally get back to my exploration, which is when Judgment Day arrived. I meet both the Ottomans and Indonesia, who were far enough away from me to enact the first step of my plan. This strategy demands rapid expansion, at least 10 cities, and fast. Now you might think that with my faith generation and potential secret society, I should gun for monumentality to help me settle. But a golden age needs to be avoided at all costs, as it would only destroy this strategy by locking us out of the second step in our plan. For now, we make progress on hard-building settlers while the Ottomans attack our ally in— Hey, wait a minute. Only we can make Mexico our bitch. This means war. Shit. This golden age is disastrous. My plans from before now lay in tatters. But there is still a way we can get out of this mess. I go Void Singers to get the unique monument that provides 4 extra faith per city that we use to buy cities like Charleston. The faster we can get these cities out, the faster we can build commercial hubs to increase trade route capacity and city growth. This rapid expansion is further improved by classical republics, free housing, and amenities for every city to grow even higher. And to fulfill my goal during this entire build-up, I refused wonders, great people, and anything else that would increase era scores. I finally achieved the antidote to my problem. We're back in business. And now, we need to work on getting a golden age. Look, I know what I said before, but trust me, it'll all make sense soon enough. For now, we built harbors and libraries everywhere to increase era score and technological development. Our capital was the only city that was already well established, so it got the task of building frontier settlers. But the issue with that is we have no army to dissuade our aggressive neighbors from forcefully seizing our land, so we stay on top of that by making friends with our enemies. Though these friendships can't stay forever, and we need to find a way to blunt any future assault, which is what Chorus is perfect for. Turning our surplus faith into other yields like science and culture will soon prove pivotal in supporting the second part of our plan. This tech development came not a moment too soon, as pirates were pillaging our key harbors, limiting trade and city growth. Thankfully, with all the money we make, I can afford to build a standing navy to defend our shores from these scallywags. I was able to repair our pillaged fishing boats with our new feudalism civic, giving our builders an extra 2 charges. But we aren't going to be relying on them just yet, as I need the next golden age first. But why? Why do I want monumentality now and not earlier in the game, where I can more efficiently snowball by buying settlers? The answer to that is because I specifically need a Renaissance golden age. And for every previous golden age you acquire, the threshold to get another increases. Conversely, a dark age lowers the threshold, meaning we just barely enter the Renaissance with a heroic age. Although all we need is one policy. Monumentality is our second step in this strategy. But unlike what you're thinking, we aren't going to be using it to buy settlers. Instead, we spam 5 charge builders all across the nation to work and chop everything, all to reach one specific turning point, the third step. To get to that point, we need to improve our cities, chopping out the Colosseum to increase amenities empire-wide, as well as various other food-focused wonders. In the meantime, my spare builders are used to create triangle farms and increase food production in every city. That food, when combined with amenities, increases my population and thus district limit, allowing me to build trade buildings, campuses, and theater squares in every city. But those aren't the only districts I build. The biggest reason I needed such a high population was to increase the district limit for one specific district, the one that this entire game and the first 2 steps were based around. The reason we made all these cities, and the third key step, industrial zones. With Abe, the industrial zone and its buildings gives you a free infantry unit that has an extra 5 combat strength. That seems obvious, but what you didn't expect was that this is only the first part of what will soon be the greatest army you will ever see. The reason we needed all these cities was to make use of a key civic: nationalism. This allows us to turn units into corps, further increasing combat capabilities. But no matter how strong your army is, you need someone to lead it. Without any encampments, I needed to save up the gold from Merchant Republic for a great general, further boosting combat strength by another 5. And with this, I believe that I've created the strongest army you can without cheating. But as strong as they are, this isn't the point of the video. I need to win a culture victory. So what was the point in all this? We'll get to that soon, but first we need a test run and declare war on Chinguita. And while you witness the destruction my forces wrought on this defenseless city-state, let me explain to you the worst possible mistake you can make in any culture victory: getting the entire world to hate your guts, reducing trade routes, open borders, and willingness to trade great works, which make an already difficult victory type downright impossible. After I take Chinguita, I raze it to the ground as everyone around the world denounces me for such barbarism. Perfect. Earlier in the video, I expected Mexico City to go down to the Ottomans, but they've survived despite their now 2-front affair. I decide it's now time to do something about these warmongers and declare a protectorate war defending the beleaguered city. As much as I want to drag out this war for content, it was a slaughter. Their lightly fortified front lines were penetrated from all sides as my armies eviscerated everything on their way to capturing Bima and Jakarta. But my plans hit a snare when an emergency was called against me. But after the last video, I spent every ounce of favor I had to prevent such a disaster. Although considering my unstoppable armies, I was probably doing the rest of the world a favor. Katarja mounts a last-ditch defense of Tuban, which was sensible since most of my army was fighting north, for all the good that did them. Although it turns out this was actually a stalling move to get the rest of their army in a ring around the capital in a last-ditch defense. The sheer volume of troops took a while to push through, but after my main army swung the hammer, it was finally over. Capturing 6 cities might seem like a win, but it actually made everything worse. The entire world now hates my guts even harder, and 6 cities is nowhere near enough to win a culture victory. It was now up to the Ottomans. Either they would become our launch pad, or doom the run entirely. The Ottomans, unlike Indonesians, had a competent army, and to counter this, we'll need oil and a lot of it. Thankfully, there are plentiful reserves down south, although Japan's loyalty pressure poses a problem. Luckily enough for us, it turns out they took a page out of Hirohito's book and hate slightly different Asians, with such a passion that they were willing to sign a cultural alliance alleviating the problem. Using my oil, I upgrade all my units as I prepare for the next phase of military dominance. Factories and mobilizations give me new units to create armies out of my cores, although I was still missing the gold to upgrade them. While I waited, I could at least rush fascism and its 5 combat strength buff to every unit in the game, maxing out the strength potential for my now unstoppable army. It was time to unleash the full power of America's deadliest. Although it was less of a test and more of a slaughter. Destroying everything that stood in our path, we pushed Suleiman back to his frontier, past his capital, and eventually past his mountain range. The only potential setback occurred when another emergency happened and I had no Diplo favor to counter it. But it's no problem, as nobody wanted this smoke. Not when our mechanized infantry looked at their urban defenses and laughed on the way to taking every city up to Aden. After which I realized that this would be enough. We finally had enough to enact the final stage of my plan, utilizing all of Abe's abilities to the fullest. So now to answer the question, why? Why did I do all this? And how do I win with no preserves, natural parks, or rock bands? With everyone and their mother hating me. Gentlemen, I introduce to you the last of Abe's abilities, the film studio. This building replaces the broadcast center and doubles tourism from the city it's built in, so long as the receiving civs are in the modern age, which they are. This entire 10 to 15 minute spectacle you just witnessed was designed to swamp are now over 25 cities with broadcast centers to create an unstoppable avalanche of cultural dominance. And so it was that I dominated Deity, winning a culture victory in 247 turns. A great time with what is widely considered the hardest victory type without making use of even a fraction of the tools it provides.